Hello and welcome. So, are you finding a little more hair on your brush than you'd like? It's a worry for so many people, but it really doesn't have to be a mystery. We're going to get straight to the facts about hair loss, what causes it, and most importantly, what your options really are.
It's that little moment, isn't it? Maybe you've noticed it in the shower, on your pillow, and you start to wonder, hang on, what's going on here? It is such a common concern, so yeah, let's get right into it.
Okay, first things first, and this is really important. If you're feeling a bit worried, you're absolutely not on your own. I mean, not by a long shot. Experiencing some kind of hair loss is incredibly common. Just to put a number on it, wow. Yeah, around 6.5 million men in the UK alone are affected by male pattern baldness. It's a huge number, and it just goes to show this really is a shared experience for so many people.
Right. Let's tackle the big question first. Is losing hair actually normal? We're going to break down the difference between that everyday shedding we all experience and the kind of hair loss that might need a bit more attention.
Believe it or not, it's completely normal to lose hair every single day. Most of us shed somewhere between 50 and 100 hairs without even noticing. It's just a standard part of your body's natural cycle of growing and renewing hair.
So, what about when that hair loss becomes a bit more noticeable? Well, that's when we start using the medical term, which is alopecia. But what's really interesting is that alopecia isn't just one single thing. It's actually an umbrella term for lots of different types of hair loss. And this is super important. Not all hair loss is permanent. Sometimes, temporary shedding can be triggered when your body's been through a bit of a major event. Like an illness, a really stressful time, losing weight quickly, or even something like an iron deficiency. The good news is, in these cases, the hair often grows back once you've sorted out the root cause.
Okay, so what about the kind of hair loss that, well, sticks around? Let's get into the why of it all and take a look at the most common types and what actually triggers them.
Right, the most common culprit for long-term hair loss is something called androgenetic alopecia. That sounds a bit technical, I know. You'll probably know it better as male or female pattern baldness. And yep, it's mostly down to your genes.
So how does it actually work? Well, it all comes down to your hair follicles getting a bit sensitive to a hormone called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT for short. Think of DHT as a messenger that's basically telling these follicles to shrink. Over time, the hair that grows back gets finer and shorter, until eventually it just stops growing altogether.
And you can often see quite clear patterns. For men, you might see it starting at the temples with a receding hairline, or maybe thinning on the crown. For women, it often looks more like a general thinning across the top of the head, especially around the parting. And then there's telogen effluvium, which is that temporary all-over shedding we were just talking about. Okay, so now we get the why. Let's move on to the what. As in, what can you actually do about it? In this next bit, we're going to look at the main types of clinically proven treatments that are out there. Generally, treatments fall into two main groups. You've got your oral treatments, so tablets you take every day, and then you've got topical treatments, things like foams or solutions that you put straight onto your scalp. A big difference is that the tablets usually need a prescription, whereas you can often buy the topical ones over the counter. Let's talk about one of the main oral treatments. It's called Finasteride, and it's really important to know this one is for men only. It's a tablet you take once a day, and it works by getting right to the root cause of male pattern baldness. It actually lowers the levels of that DHT hormone in your scalp. And what that can do is slow hair loss right down, and in some cases, even help with regrowth. Now, the other major player is Minoxidil. This one's a topical treatment, and it's for both men and women. You might have heard of it under the brand name Regaine. You just apply it directly to your scalp, and it works in a totally different way to finasteride. It helps boost blood flow and actually makes the hair follicles bigger, which encourages them to stay in that active growing phase for longer. Okay, this is a question we hear a lot. Can you actually prevent hair loss? Well, the honest answer is you can't stop genetic hair loss from happening. But what you can do is adopt some really good habits to support the hair you've got and keep your scalp as healthy as possible. It really all boils down to this simple idea. The key is to protect your scalp, steer clear of any unnecessary damage, and just give your hair's natural growth cycle the best possible support. So let's look at some super simple, practical things you can do. First up, be gentle. Using mild, sulfate-free shampoos means you're not stripping away all those important natural oils from your scalp.
Next, style kindly. Try to avoid those really tight ponytails or braids that pull on your hair because that just puts a lot of strain on the follicles. And finally, ease up on the heat. Using styling tools less often or on a lower setting can make a huge difference in preventing breakage.
Right, so if any of this has struck a chord with you, you're probably wondering, okay, so what do I do now? Let's quickly run through how simple and discreet it is to get some professional advice. Sometimes getting started is the hardest bit, but the process itself is actually dead simple. First, you just choose a treatment you think might be right for you. Then, you fill out a quick questionnaire online, and a registered prescriber will review your answers. And finally, if it's all suitable, your order is delivered discreetly right to your door. Easy as that.
And I really want to stress this part because it's the most important bit. Every single decision is made by a registered prescriber. This is all to make absolutely sure that any treatment is not only suitable for you, but crucially, that it's safe.
So there we have it. We've covered the what, the why, and the how of dealing with hair loss. Just understanding your options is such a massive first step. The next one is all yours, for whenever you feel ready to take back a bit of control, not just over your hairline, but over your confidence too.